Hello and welcome to Batflips and Nerds, the baseball podcast with a British twist. I'm your host, John McGee, and we have got a real treat for you on this episode. Firstly, I'm delighted to be joined by our regular visitor, the artist maestro extraordinaire, Mr. Andy Brown. How are you doing, mate?
Good evening, John. I'm good. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all the listeners. Thanks for having us back on. It's great to be here, and especially to talk about today's topic.
Yeah, we're excited to talk about it. Good to see Andy joining us from the world's worst narrowboat. For those of you not already following along, make sure you get on Andy's Instagram. Andy Brown is on a narrowboat. It's well worth following the travails of Andy getting a knackered narrowboat down the canals of Warwickshire and Northamptonshire, aided by the affable Jerry, who is
Yeah,
is a great addition.
it's never dull.
It's never dull, and good to see your paintings behind you. But as you said, we are going to, of course, talk a little bit about your contribution to this, but we're not really here to talk about your amazing baseball paintings, but to talk about the GB women's baseball team, the reigning European champion women's baseball team. And I'm delighted that we've got Kat Golik, who is the third base player. Do I say base woman, base player? How do you say it, Kat? You tell me.
I just say basement.
You put
It's fine.
All right, fine.
Keep it simple.
I'm trying to be as inclusive as possible and trip
Yeah.
myself up there. So, Kat, you played third base for the reigning women's European baseball champions in the summer. So, it's a little bit after the party, but welcome to Batflips and Nerds and enormous congratulations for your success at the back end of the summer.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a real pleasure. So, I'm pleased this isn't the first time that we've chatted about women's baseball on the pod. So we had the amazing Doris Hocking and Kelly Wright on the show just over 5 years ago. I was looking back at this
Wow.
afternoon, thinking that when we had Doris on and Kelly, that was the absolute infancy of the GB women's team, and it's been a pretty meteoric 5 year journey, Kat, hasn't it, for you guys going from Doris thinking about this being a good idea and having conversations with the then GB men's manager Liam Carroll about how to go about it. 5 years later, you're the European champions. I don't think anyone, including Doris, would have thought that, would they?
Oh, it's epic. And yeah, I met Doris in those early days. She was one of the reasons of getting into women's baseball. So, um, yeah, what a journey. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic to watch the efforts and energy of people like you and Jess Vernon and Doris and the Wright sisters in Sheffield. So what has that journey been like? Obviously, you're very involved in the Bristol club, Cat. What's the journey been like in those 5 years that we haven't, we've been keeping an eye on it, but not docking in with you? What's been the process been to get GB women's baseball from an idea to a successful program that it is and has been, over this last 6 months or so?
So a lot of it was just getting women to join. So I was at a random game in Weston that Doris had been trying to put together. And I think it was early COVID, early 2020, we finally had a get together at Farnham for anyone that was interested in this GB team and the potential of a GB team. And it's grown from there. So we had, I think it was Drew and Jose were the initial coaches that came in, and Carlos that joined. So it was a lot of going up and down the motorway up to Sheffield, a lot of journeys to Farnham as well. And yeah, it's been a lot of training, I can tell you that. Um, a lot of
And
training.
how many of you were there at that sort of first gathering at Farnham?
It
How
was
many
quite
people are we
big.
talking about?
I want to say there were at least 20, if not going into 30. And to the point where there was a random girl on the side watching, and even she just joined in, which was amazing. Like, that's what baseball should be, right? People just watching and going, "Oh, I'd like to have a go." And yeah.
Yeah. And what was your journey to it? I know you play with Bristol, and
Mhm.
you I think you if I know right, you play in the men's team at one of the men's teams at Bristol as well,
Yeah,
right? So
I
how
play
how
with
d-
the
how
men's.
how, yeah, how did you come to start playing baseball yourself?
Uh, sort of roped in via my boyfriend. I play softball. I've played slow pitch softball for years. And yeah, we sort of just swapped sports really and said, oh, let's have a go at each other's sport. And I'll be honest, it wasn't till the COVID year where we couldn't play slow pitch and baseball was happening. And I thought, yeah, I'll give that a go and play properly, play games. And yeah, I really loved it. So yeah.
And 5 years later, you were a European champion.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Kat, can I ask you a question there? What is
Sure.
the biggest difference between the two games? What the two sports? What did you find was the biggest thing to master or change, or biggest thing you had to alter?
Main thing is hitting. I mean, the pitching is, the difference. One is slow, one's fast.
Yeah.
So it's an underarm throw in slow pitch. Which should be fairly easy to hit. And yeah, baseball has definitely got to adapt and change the swing slightly to it. And I just love the tactics of baseball as well. That's a big part of the game. So you don't get as much in slow pitch.
So that's a good question. I mean, it's one of the things I wanted to ask you about, and I'd be interested in the perspective from slow pitch as well. So if people haven't watched a women's baseball game before, which I imagine quite a few of the people watching this and listening to this might not have, because it's unfortunately not as readily available as the men's game is. What what will look different? Obviously, the rules are the same, the dimensions of the diamond are the same. You guys are all playing hard, you're all playing your hearts out, but what might look different in terms of the style of play, if anything, Kat?
Um, I'd definitely say that you'd see a bit more of the short game in the
Right.
women's version. It's definitely something we're working on, and seems to work. So yeah.
Yeah, it was notable when I was looking back on all of the stats from Czechia this afternoon. The two stolen base leaders were both from GB, and there was a lot of games which were both teams scoring a lot of runs. So that tracks with that idea of sort of keeping the line moving, and I mean, that's kind of a GB very much. If you were talking to Drew Spencer or Brad Marcelino, that's the GB way. Keep it moving. So it's there in the DNA of the women's program too, right?
Absolutely. Stay aggressive. Yeah.
So, Andy, you've also been following the team like for the last 5 years too, and you had the amazing opportunity to be out there with the team. What have you noticed in terms of watching them? And you've been involved in a huge number of GB tournaments as artist in residence. You even managed to
Yeah.
wangle your way into some of the team photos, which is the biggest league I've ever seen in my life. So, what are your observations on that, having been so close to lots of different baseball programs over the last couple of years?
It's superb. It was, it was the first, GB women's games and action that I'd seen. And number one, the facilities in Czechia are so good. The facility in Hubloka was amazing. Beautiful place, beautiful ballpark. Absolutely wonderful. But the tournament itself was superb. It was hard fought, well supported. It was great to see GB fans out there. But the standard of the play was brilliant. It was so good. After, I think I'd just come from the under 23s and came down to the south where the ladies were playing, and the quality was fantastic, and the games were about as nail biting as I've seen with GB. It was, one moment you feel everything's going to be all right, the next you're on the edge of your easel, and then we come through at the end as well. So it was brilliant. It was really, really good. And like Kat's saying there, like the short game, it was just like things just moving on. Things are always happening, and it was great to see. It was great to really cover the development of the program. Now I've done the senior team, the under 23s, the women now, and hopefully I can work my way down the different teams in the coming years. But it was good to kind of get to experience it, get to witness it, and get to put it down on canvas for us all to see.
For prosperity.
Exactly. Yeah.
posterity, not prosperity. What am I talking about? Goodness, it's late on Friday evening, guys. I'm just about flamed out. But yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the tournament itself. So it's a 4-team tournament, isn't it? Played in a round robin style, and then placing. So it's short and sharp. You know, a 3-day tournament, pretty intensive competition. You've got a game every single day. How that's I mean, you guys, you know, if you're playing for Bristol and you're going around the country to play scrimmage games and stuff, that probably was a little bit more familiar with you than it might have been in different baseball programs, right? The idea that you're there for a weekend and you're playing a round robin tournament and it's really, really intensive, but the level of competition is you know, international as opposed
Yeah.
to, you know, playing your pals down at Farnham.
Yeah, that's very true. It was, as you say, short and sharp. So,
There was
well,
two games on the final day as well. I should point in there, like
yeah,
because of
we
the
had
rain
that
day
rain
on the
day.
16th. There was the
Right.
rained out day, so you got 2 games in one day, and that was, I don't know how Cat and Co did it. It was full on.
And what was the preparation? You said, you know, getting into women's baseball in the UK was an awful lot of shuttling to Farnham and shuttling to Sheffield, shuttling to Bristol. I'm sure there was a lot of that involved, but was there a sort of a level of intensity about how you're going to be training, how you're going to come together as a squad that was different when you were preparing for a tournament like this, as opposed to, you know, when you were just coming together for training camps and so on?
Um, to be honest, the coaches really prepared us well. Like, there's always a
Hmm.
constant high, keep everything intense. I suppose there's the dealing of nerves and what is going to happen, because it is, yeah, this is the competition that we prepared for. So we did have some good chats in the morning. I think just to get anything out of the way of our feelings. But yeah, we just had our routine and we stuck with it. That was the main thing, and it was the routine we'd done most of, yeah, that time leading up to it.
And was the majority of your preparation on your side of the diamond? Because I know over the course of our following the GB men's program and the under 23s program, it's you know still intense focus on the team on the team in the GB jersey. But as more is understood of opponents, as data is more readily available of like you know who's playing in the French league, is it on YouTube? Did or was it more of a we're just going to play ourselves, we're going to play the ball?
Um, and we had our plan to stick to, but I know the coaches definitely did a great job of looking at the other teams, looking at the other players. A couple of us from the Swivel League had gone over to France, so we had a little bit of insight of a couple of players. That was quite useful. Um, yeah, I know that a lot was done in the background, especially by Danny Briggs. So yeah,
And so it was Pietro who was leading the team
that's
out
right.
in Czechia. And so what he's like a formidable character in British baseball with the Mets, and of course his son Matteo has played for the men's team as well. What was sort of Pietro bringing to you? What was the sort of mantra that he was preparing you in advance of the tournament and then on the days itself?
Um, Super Mantra. Just stay true to yourself. Believe in
Yeah.
what we've done. Believe in our preparation. Yeah, he just trusted us. That was the best thing, I think. He said, "We've done all the work. Now just go do it." So yeah, it was good. It was confidence building. So and
Yeah,
paid off
definitely.
eventually.
It it did well. Look, it paid off right away. You know,
Well,
that
that's true.
first
The
day,
opener did definitely. Yeah.
you're playing the defending champions and you
Yeah.
absolutely hammered them. I mean, in terms of building confidence, you can't really get better than that, can you?
Yeah. No, that was a pretty epic opener. Yeah. It was good to watch.
What? I mean, look, you know, everything went right. Clearly, if you win 16-1, everything went right. But was that about the preparation that you put in?
It was. We knew roughly how the pitcher pitched. Yeah, we had the game plan and we stuck to it, and they couldn't do anything about it, really. So that was that, really. Yeah.
And Andy, you must have been like, hang on a minute.
Superb. There was
Yeah,
Una. Una was on the mound, and
Oh,
again,
she
like
was
the
great.
quality was fantastic. Like the all through the team, the hitting both sides of the plate. Um, it was just like you said, dominant. Absolutely smashed him, and I was like, wow, 16-1. I was like, that you made it look very, very easy. But it was, it was a great start, wasn't it? It was the way to start the tournament for sure.
absolutely. But then then the unstoppable force ran into the immovable object, which was the the sort of the wagon that is the Czech baseball program. You're playing in Hrbovka in Czechia, absolutely rabid baseball fans. They put an awful lot of energy and funding into baseball. We're going to get onto what happened in the final in a minute, of course, but what was that atmosphere like? What was it like playing? You're used to playing in a municipal park in Weston or in Bristol, or at best you're playing at Farnham Park. What's it like playing a Czech team in Hrbovka?
Oh wow, the noise. Yeah, that was just something you had to deal with. But the noise of the crowd and they're involved, and you just somehow have to try and block it out if you can if you're playing on the pitch. And it was evening games, which is also interesting because a lot of us haven't played in floodlights. I'd probably say the majority of the team hadn't played in floodlights, so that was a first, and getting used to that as well.
Oh, wow, of course. And I mean, had you even been able to do any training, like take some swings in the cage on the night before or anything like that? Or was it just like, hey, it's the first time I've hit under floodlights. I'm on the diamond. I'm playing Czechia.
uh, Thinking about it, I don't think we did have. I mean, we had stuff in the cage, but yeah, nothing. It was still light when we started, so yeah, it was. Here you go, go do it.
And Andy, you obviously you came to baseball in East Asia, right? And there's some
Yeah.
pretty rampant fans, but you've also
Oh
been
yeah.
with the GB team in Arizona, you've in Brno at the European Chair, the men's team in when they'd be playing in Brno. How was this crowd? Was this as
Very,
amped
very
as it
noisy.
comes?
Very,
Yeah.
very noisy. Very intense because it was quite an intimate park, and the crowd were very, very close, and they're very, very passionate, and it was mostly very friends and families, I guess, and the local people from the local like area. So it was pretty intense. Like I was there hiding behind the easels, the ladies were doing their thing, and it was. I mean, to paint, it was fantastic because it was a beautiful setting. You had people doing little polkas down at the front, dancing around, and there's of course
Nice.
nice cold beer. So I was enjoying all the good bits.
Lucky
Um,
you.
but it was a pretty intense. The Czechs like their baseball, so it was fantastic. I mean, it was great.
You must have been looking down that third base line at Andy Brown, Cat, just been like, who's this chancer? Stay with his Czech lager. Having a lovely old time.
Thankfully,
It's
I was
hard work, mate.
included.
Tough stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody's got to do it, John. That's the thing.
Mate, you earn your way into every room you get yourself into. You and I both know that. It's not just with the painting; it's the gift of the gab too. So yeah, you obviously the Czech team came out on top, and then you won your way into the placing round in a really like nail biting tense game with the Netherlands. And that was I mean a nail biting day all round. So
Yeah.
that what's it like? Look, I'm never going to know this. Look, I was a useless, washed out schoolboy sportsman, and I've played at no competitive level. I played rec soft pitch softball in London, and I was the worst player in a bad team. Like, so I'm going to ask you, Kat, who has played like at like elite level European sport. What's going through your mind when you're on that diamond and you're in a position where you're in a nip and tuck game that's about placing, it's about winning a championship? What would take us through your sort of thought process? Are you able to stay in the moment? Are you able to stay in the zone, or is your mind just thinking, oh my god, this is insane?
Um, yeah, I mean, I'll say that Netherlands game, I got thrown in. I think it was the second or third inning when it was very nail biting. Um, as I say, you just got to stay in the moment. You're trying to keep that tunnel vision and just one ball at a time, or one pitch at a time, and stay as focused as you can. For me, I talk to myself a lot, so if the camera was ever on me, oh dear. But yeah, I talk to myself a lot, just
I
situations.
was wondering, Kat,
Yeah.
how, like, at the top of the second, I'm watching and I'm like, oh no, 9-0. I'm like, what are you thinking then? What's the team doing on the bench? Because I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Like, what's going on? Like, what was the chat? What was the feelings? What was it happening? What was happening?
Interestingly, we were on a high, weirdly. Even though we were 9-0 down, we went, no, we've got this. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It was, we knew it was just, some things that had been missed or whatever, but we had this belief that, it's fine. We can get back to this. Yeah.
Love it. It was
really,
amazing. It was
I've never
amazing.
been in a dugout like that where you just.
No, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was a great game to watch because it went from just that to, well, coming out and winning.
Yeah.
That's how GB does it. I remember watching it, and I mean, look, I know that there's been a bunch of European games recently, but on the men's side, the one that lingers in the memory is the World Baseball Classic qualifier against Spain, isn't it? Where they were down by, I think it was 7, and they won on in the bottom of the 9th, didn't they? Well, they won in the top of the 10th, but they tied it in the bottom of the 9th. Yeah. So like, this, I know that Liam and Drew and Pietro would not tell you that the GB way means something entirely different, but the GB way actually means go miles down and come back and win, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that must, I mean, I was going to say, like, interesting that you had the way of around it for you, is you sort of talking to yourself, like repetitions and stuff, because again, that's it, that what's the mental preparation for a program like yours? Because the best will in the world, like you haven't got sports scientists, you're not Man City, you're not the LA Lakers, but was that part of your preparation as well, like all of that, like mental conditioning thinking, or is that just something that works for you, that you've alighted on yourself?
There was some prep from that point. The girls, we actually have our own chat, and we do discuss things like that, like how do you help yourself in tough situations, or so we have discussed it, but it's never been sort of on the plan, I would say, in the program. But
I just want to circle back to a conversation that I had earlier about that, the sort of the beginnings of your journey into women's baseball. But also it's the same for a lot of your team, right? So Jess Vernon, who like set up her own team in order to sort of start playing baseball. Laura Hirai played since she was tiny, playing men's baseball in North London. We'll come on to what Laura's doing next in a minute. But do you think that obsession, the fact that this is just so niche and that you need to be super committed in order to just play, let alone play at the level that you are, was in a funny sort of way like your trump card? No one's expecting Great Britain to have the standards of a Dutch team or a Czech team or a French team. And so in a funny sort of way, they underestimate you guys who are so into this, because you have to be.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think it is that shared experience of, unfortunately, both baseball and softball are not huge in our sports programs, and if at all in schools. So we've all shared a similar journey of just trying to grab as much coaching as we can. And we've traveled a long way usually to try and find that. So yeah, I think that has built a big part of the program and the girls' camaraderie. Yeah.
And I imagine in a funny sort of way that the fact that this is a victory born of grassroots baseball in the UK, like that's the winner, right? It's the people taking out the temporary mound in Bristol and in Sheffield and raking the grass and taking the stones off the diamond before you even got a chance to play. Does that not make it in a funny sort of way feel different or sweeter than it might have? You may not, like, I guess we'll never know, but from your point of view, I guess that it's a different perspective on the sport, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it does make it feel sweeter in that way. Yeah, because we've all had to start, from the ground up. Um, and there's not a lot out there, unfortunately. So, yeah, it's hard research and, lots of chats together and comparing, different ways of trying to do stuff at home, not just in your leagues and clubs. Um,
And that's
yeah,
so.
good.
What are you doing at home? Have you got a net in your back garden that you're knocking baseballs into every evening?
Yeah, I'm quite lucky. I've set up a space in my garage. So yeah, I've got a tee set up and just hitting into a curtain basically. And
And I
then
guess if your partner's brought you to the sport, it's then difficult for them to look in the other direction,
yeah,
right?
yeah, no, they're very good. Yeah, they've been very supportive and helped me. I have taken them, forced them to go out to the field and hit at me, and throw the ball throughout the preparation. So they've been very good.
As all great teams are, it's the nine on the field, but it's everybody else behind the scenes. I
Yeah.
love that you hit the ball into a curtain. That's absolutely incredible. Where did the British victory in the European baseball championships come from? It was winning RBI knocker Kat Golik hitting into a curtain in southwest somewhere in the southwest of England.
That's what dreams are made of. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They are now, Andy, I'm interested in your perspective on this because you know, as we said at the top, you're now a veteran of a number of GB adventures, right? And this one is so different from some of the others. Like,
Yeah,
look, the GB programs are different to the USA World Baseball Classic team, right? But
yeah,
even still, there's a degree of funding and commitment and star power that comes with the team in Houston or the team in Regensburg. So how different was that contrast? Could you see, or was it just this is another GB team? The principles are all the same. What was your perspective as someone who was there on the ground, having seen all of those different views of GB as a baseball nation?
I think one of the biggest things, and it kind of goes back to the conversation you were talking about before, is there was the chemistry. There was the
Mm.
chemistry, and you could feel like everybody, like Kat was saying there, like even with their backs up against the wall, they're still just going through it, and they know they can do it, and there's an absolute belief, and you could really feel that, you could really see it, and you could see it in the way that they were preparing, the way they were celebrating, the way they were on the field. I think that was probably one of the biggest things, and it really felt like, and I don't know if Kat, I don't know if it's this thing, but it felt like yours. It felt like it was the team's thing. It really felt like everyone had put in so much time, so much effort. Drive, like you said, driving up and down motorways to go and for a training session or a coaching clinic or whatever else it is, and that's a different that's a very different approach, and I think it's incredible. I think it's a bit of when you talking before, it's a bit like the Field of Dreams type thing as well, isn't it? You're there, not in the cornfield, but in the garage with the curtain, and you're doing your own thing, and I think that's the dedication, and that's what I loved about it. I thought it was so close, and the chemistry was fantastic, and I just think, right, just keep going. We need more girls and women getting into GB baseball and getting into baseball in the country. So anything we can do for that it's absolutely got to be done. It was
It,
brilliant.
it's a world away from hey, did you know this guy's grandma was born in Hong Kong? I'm not knocking that because we
Yeah,
need those players on the men's team when they're going to be facing Aaron Judge, right? but
yeah,
but it's so different in terms of its essence and in terms of
yeah.
where it comes from. It is,
Very,
you said it's the
yeah. It
curtain.
was really, really
I
like the
love it.
chemistry and the stories. I think that was quite amazing. Really, really cool.
Yeah, so it's a good transition. I haven't talked about the final. I'm sort of going round
No,
in
yeah, hang
circles
on.
without coming back to so Kat, we are
Yeah.
absolutely blessed. Well, like it's amazing to have had you, but we're so blessed that that again was a really intense final. It was an opportunity to what's Brownie bringing back here?
Oh
It
no.
was an opportunity to avenge your defeat to the Czechs. And you did, and it was you who managed to knock in the winning run like that. Just what an experience that must have been. Like talk us through it.
I think it might have been Ella, but yeah, because I got
Ella,
swapped
right?
out.
Well,
But
you were very heavily involved.
yeah, oh man, yeah. The fact that we got in the final was just huge, and again, it was that belief, like this is what we were here for. Everyone knew, like we have that one goal, we're just going to win. And we were referring to the noise level. I mean, I've really got to give credit to the GB supporters. They were amazing. There weren't many of them, but oh gosh, you could hear them. I remember on the field, like just hearing, people in my ear, and it put a smile on your face and a bit of extra belief that we could do it. Yeah, gosh, it was fantastic.
That's absolutely awesome. And what was the reception like afterwards? I mean, you know, they were they gracious and defeat your opponents and hosts?
Yeah, I think they were pretty good. Yeah, the fact that we're playing women's baseball at a top level, like all the teams, we all gathered afterwards. We all chatted, we all bonded. Yeah, women's baseball is different in that way. I mean, I can't say anything about the men's, but there's just such a bond. Like, there's so few opportunities to play in these types of tournaments. So we're all just so grateful, I think, and we will share that together.
That's awesome. And Andy, you as we said, got to capture it for prosperity or indeed posterity.
Yeah.
Did you imagine that when you were, as I said, you've been on a few of these jamborees and several of them very successful, but that must have been pretty sweet to be, there with the winning team.
You can't beat it. Absolutely fantastic. It was just perfect. I mean, the whole tournament was great. It'd been a great couple of weeks, and everything just came together. And like Kat said again, it was just great. Like the presentation on the field at the end and all the teams there. It was it was special, and that's what it's all about. It's so amazing to be there and see these things unfold. Love it.
And obviously, like women's baseball, Cat has been a bit more in the public eye recently. You've had Kelsey Whitmore, who's been playing in independent pro ball with Staten Island, and then was in Banana Ball this year alongside Val Perez, who's one of the managers in Banana Ball and plays for the US women's baseball team. This is like, it's still a minority sport and still a niche within a niche, but starting to build more profile when with the women's pro baseball league coming up this year. That not a bad time for GB to be in the spotlight, is it?
No, definitely not. Yeah, it's really great to see the opportunities are expanding. Yeah. Yeah, I got
And one of your teammates is going to be playing in that as well, isn't she? In Laura, who was Laura Hirai, who was drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's huge. It's really huge. I'm so glad because there were already a couple of us that I think applied to the Pro Ball trials. But yeah, she made it, which is fantastic. Yeah, huge thing for the program.
Yeah. So when does that start? Is she over there yet, or is it in the early spring, or when should we be keeping our eyes out for like she's playing with the Boston team, right?
That's right. Yeah, I think it's in the summer, early summer. I've been given 2 different dates, but yeah, I think either early May or potentially August to look out for. But yeah, we'll definitely be posting it on the GB Baseball Women's site to let you know for sure.
Absolutely. And outside of Laura, what's coming next for the program? When are you defending your championship? Is there? I genuinely don't know. You tell me. Is there? I'm assuming there's a world championship that you're now going to take part in.
Yeah, so there's qualifiers this year, and it's still to be confirmed where and when. They have one location in Illinois in July, but there is potential for another location for the section that we're in. So that's our prep at the moment, is for that.
Is that where
And
like, you prep? Go on, Andy.
That was is that in Rockport? Was that the one they were talking about in Rockport?
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be quite
Field
the
of
place to be,
Dreams.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the
The
whole
Peaches original, I think.
yeah
That's the
yeah
one.
yeah yeah
Yeah,
Maybelle Blair
yeah.
and all that. Yeah,
That's
wonderful.
it. Yeah.
Oh, what an amazing place! Like
Yeah.
how apt would that be? That would be incredible. And so you're sort of full steam ahead preparing for that as a program.
Oh yes.
So how are you guys part of the UK sport, or are you completely fully funded, self-funded, are you completely self-funded? How is this working with you guys? Because there's an opportunity here to have a conversation about that, and who knows where that might go.
We're definitely self-funded. Yeah, we don't have
Mm.
any support yet, unfortunately. We've had a few freebies, which has been really kind via the Instagram, but yeah, so far any finances, all by ourselves.
And I think the best place to leave it is to say that, like, look, what a thing to happen. Like, if this isn't going to inspire more young girls and women to come along and try the sport, then what will? So how's the best place to do that? If you are have seen GB women winning in the summer, or you're listening to this podcast or seeing a clip of it on social media, and you're thinking, oh, I'm interested in that, where's the best place to go and find your local club, whether you want to be a player, a supporter, or even if you've got a checkbook in your pocket?
So you got a couple of options. You can either go to the GB Women's Instagram, so that's at GB_baseball women, or you can go to the BBF website, and they can direct you to the nearest clubs or leagues that are available. But I know that anyone available on our Instagram will pass you on to the right people for sure. I know there's quite a few female opportunities, women's opportunities coming up. Like there's a pitcher catcher clinic in Taunton. There is a junior development team run by Danny Briggs, so I know there's potential opportunities coming up there in Leicester and Cardiff. So definitely look out on the women's Instagram for that.
We'll definitely make sure that we point people in the direction of that, and hopefully your DMs are going to be stuffed full of enthusiastic new people willing to give it and hoping to give it a go. And yeah, Andy, what's new for you in 2026? Where's the paintbrush taking you?
We shall see.
Other than the canals of Northamptonshire.
Yeah, off the Grand Union for a while. We shall see. There is always baseball in the world. There is always cricket. There's always sports ready to be painted. So I've got a few things in the air. Nothing fully landed yet. So we'll have to see, John. It's all a matter of we'll wait and see. We'll see what comes along. But we all know there's a few big baseball things happening this year. So hopefully I'll be at a few of those. We'll see. See where the plane takes me.
See where the plane takes you. So, Kat, Andy, it's been really awesome to talk to you. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks for sharing those amazing memories of last summer. And yeah, fantastic to hear a little bit more colour, both on the paintbrush and in terms of the anecdotes of what came with that amazing triumph. So, guys, you know where we are on the socials, but this is not about us. It's about going and following GB Women. So get over to the Instagram at GB_baseball women. And Kat, Andy, thanks so much for your time. And hopefully we can hear a bit more about that trip to Rockport, Illinois later in the year.
Thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure.